Here we're going to glue up these Western style handles. And so this is a raw blade that hasn't been sanded yet. So first thing we need to do is sand the handle area. And the way we're going to find the position of where the handle is we're going to actually just put a handle on there. Same thing with these handles. They've not been sanded on the inside yet. They're smooth, so you can see the reflection. These need to be sanded first before we glue them together. So we're going to take some pins here and put these pins inside the handle. This is also an important step before gluing to see if the handles fit on the blade. Some of them there's misalignments. This one's perfect. So if the pins don't fit in, then you're going to have to machine out a little bit, grind out a little bit of the holes to get the pin to fit. But that has to be done. You have to make sure the alignment of the exterior stays the same. Take a small permanent marker and then draw a line there, and then draw a line on the other side. This just tells us where our boundaries for sanding. So take it apart, remove the handle, and now we're going to come over here. This very coarse sandpaper, and I'm going to sand the Tang. I want to really make sure that I don't cross this line, because if you cross this line, you're going to see sanding marks on the outside. It's very important not to cross that line. So I can do it up on here. It makes it a little bit easier to hold rather than on the table. So you want to sand pretty aggressively. Like I said, stay away. Initially, just stay away from that border. Okay, then once you've sanded enough everywhere else, you can kind of approach the border over here. You're gonna, yeah, as long as the angle is good. Okay, you see how I sanded up kind of close, a few millimeters away, but not over the edge. Now flip it over. I'm going to sand the back side the same way. And when you sand, you can sand in like a few different directions, like 2 different directions at least, to get a crosshatch pattern. So you sand the whole thing, then come in and sand near the border carefully. All right, now when you're done with that, same thing with the tangs. It's good to clean off the vacuum cleaner first. You can take a piece of cloth with alcohol and clean off that handle. It's going to remove the permanent marker mark too that you made earlier, which is important because if you glue on the handles without removing that mark, then that mark is going to be on there. You can't get rid of it later. You're going to see it. Clean it off really well. You can hide this cloth under a cap or something to keep it from drying out, so hold on to the alcohol. Now we need to go ahead and sand the handle blanks too. So I'm going to come back over here, and these handle blanks, just take the piece of very coarse sandpaper. Again, this is like a 30-40 grit sandpaper, really as coarse as you can get, and we're going to rub in this direction first You want to make sure that you're just hitting the flat part on the bottom and scratching it up. You don't want to tilt, you don't want to hit the edge or tilt it or anything. You want to make sure it stays really flat. And you can also go in the other direction too. Kind of apply pressure in different places, the middle, the end, the middle. And you're just going to look like, have I covered most of the surface? It looks like I've covered most everything, but a few areas I haven't covered, so do some more application there. And that should be good. So now the same thing with this other one. Do one side, then do the other side in the other direction, then change it 90 degrees. And look to see if you covered most of the surface. The place here looks like there's not as much sanding there, so do a little more at the end. Well, it looks like you've covered most of the surface, then you're good. And now come back over here. One step actually to do before cleaning off with the alcohol is it's better to first clean off the vacuum cleaner. The reason it's better to clean off the vacuum cleaner before you use the alcohol wipe is that there may be some sanding grit on here, and on the handles it's not too bad if you're rubbing around, but if you have sanding grit that's still on the tang and you rub it too far, you may rub that sanding grit into the surface, the polished area here, and end up scratching that area. Grab that alcohol. And we're going to clean off that surface. Okay, so that's it for prepping the handles, sanding them, and cleaning them. The handles and the tang.